Hey, folks, well, guess where your guy is? That's right. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, and this is gonna be we got I got Elwin all the way East Texas, then went to west part of the USA. Let's put it like this. He's been out here for, you been out here for about a couple of weeks now?
I
Almost 2
went
weeks.
to Vegas on the 31st and covered the East-West Shrine game and the Pro Bowl games, and then flew here on Monday of this week, the 6th, and I'm leaving Tuesday.
You leaving Tuesday, and I'm leaving out Monday afternoon. So I guess the respective state of Arizona, we've been glad, and Las Vegas was been glad to see us to get our money. And now once the brokers, they're ready for us to get out and move on.
There you go.
It's interesting that what Lyft driver I was with last night, he was sort of like he had been here. In fact, everybody I've been on with Lyft drivers had been here all their lives, and I'm sitting there going like, "So what do you think?" He said, "Oh, it's great. I just be glad when y'all leave."
Yeah, we are interrupting their way of life because, as you know, Arizona, especially Phoenix and Tucson areas, there's a lot like Florida of retired people, and
Right.
they don't want the disruption of the hustle and bustle that we create.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hey, we expecting some other folks on. You've been here since the onset, since Monday.
Yep.
Give me a quick thumbnail. I mean, just give me your impressions, because you made the media luncheon. I got in Thursday. You made the media. You done got a flavor of everything else. And and as you talking, I'm gonna add the Rad Man on and bring him in on the Rad Man. Welcome up. Welcome. I know you've been up early this morning, man, because you had to go. Yeah, good morning. You had to go all the way back to the East Coast, man. I mean,
yes.
What time were you up at?
3:30
in the morning?
5:30. 5:30.
5:30.
5:30. After Curry B did her thing, I just came on.
I came
on home and chilled out. And good to see you at the Pro Football Writers Association, Elwin.
Hey, you too, brother.
Friday morning. I kept looking. I said, I know that guy, and it took me a minute to finally realize who you were. But hey, good seeing you.
I thought you looked familiar too, and I just couldn't put two and two together. So I apologize too, brother.
Well, all right. Well, we done got 2 and 2, and as far as my math skills go, that's 5. So anyway, we'll keep on going.
Well, to answer your question, AD, that you asked, I want to throw this in real quick about the Vegas trip, and then I'll quickly summarize what's happened, since I got out to Phoenix. I enjoyed covering that East-West Shrine game. I covered it last year, and I got a chance to do an interview with Alec, who has been basically the poster child of the Shriners Hospitals for, probably 10 or 12 years. That young man, unbelievable. He's 20 years old now and is at the Medill School of Journalism at Northwestern University. Extremely intelligent young man. I'll honestly say that's probably one of the most, if not right up there in the top 3 most enjoyable interviews I've ever done throughout my many years of doing interviews. Then we get to the Pro Bowl game. And, we were all talking about, oh, man, flag football, this is ridiculous. There was only 20-something fans there last year when they were getting touched and falling down. But as the thing went on, the fans were really into it. The players started getting into it. And as bad as I hate to admit I was wrong, I will admit when I'm wrong, I really enjoyed that experience. And I think everybody there did. I think they might have a format that might honestly work with this thing now, since it was just a joke up until this year. So now to fast forward to Phoenix. I came in Monday, got my week of game credential, kind of got the lay of the land as far as the media center and figuring out the parking and all that wonderful stuff with my rental car. Tuesday night, we had the media party. It was at a farm. And everybody's going, oh, man, outside. But that was the coolest thing. Everything that they served was grown on that farm. The meat, the vegetables, everything. They did have goat cheese pizza that I wasn't brave enough to try, because every time I've tasted goat cheese, to me, it tasted just like goat's smell. So I didn't eat any of the goat pizza. But nonetheless, everything was made right there at the farm. It was an awesome party. There were probably about 3,000 folks there. And then I went over Thursday to the final interview session that the teams were having before tomorrow's game, and got a chance to interview Patrick Mahomes a little bit, ask him a question that his mom had asked me a year ago in Las Vegas, the next time I interviewed him, if I'd ask it. And that was what his mom had meant to him. He smiled and gave me a really, really nice 45-second answer. It's obvious he's very close to his mom, just as he is his dad. And, all in all, it's been a good week. The one thing I've been surprised about, obviously, I've been to 2 Phoenix Super Bowls prior to this one that I've covered. But this time I stayed out in Chandler, Arizona to get an affordable room as opposed to the NFL media hotel rate, 22 miles from the convention center. But it's been an easy drive. Traffic flows just very easily. Even at rush hour, I was never slowed down but by about 4 or 5 minutes. And I told several of my friends I've talked to, if I ever decide I don't want to move to Vegas but want to leave Texas, I can see myself living in Phoenix. I actually like this place. So all in all, it's been a great week. Got to see, just like I saw your post yesterday, got to see some of the older players and some of the more interesting guys over at the Radio Row session. And one of my buddies, and I should have asked him to send it to me, and I forgot it, got a picture of what he said, nobody will ever see this again. He had a picture of Earl Campbell and Emmitt Smith, and let's see, there was one other running back, big-time running back, all 3 of them in one picture. And he said, probably never see this again. He's about 10 years younger than me, but he said, this is a highlight of my career, getting these 3 guys together at one time. So it's been a lot of exciting things going on all week long, as it is always bustling. But I'm at the point today, probably like just about everybody who's been here all week, I'm just going to crash, relax in my hotel room, got a pregame story to write after we finish the podcast. And I am ready for Super Bowl Sunday and ready to see Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs find a way to make it happen.
Okay, we'll get the scores. We'll get all our prognostications at the end. Rad Man, I know you were on Radio Row all week. You and Pat mighty over. Where is he, by the way? I sent him the link, but that's okay. He's
he just walked by here and get his. He's getting it together. He's getting it together this morning. Yes, indeed. I was up early. I've been up since 5. Boom, doing the shows, and it's been a great weekend. We're right down the road from you. We pass the Angels baseball stadium every day coming out here to, we're off of Baseline Road. We're right around the corner, about 5 minutes from Arizona State University, and all the eateries and restaurants in the baseball stadium and for all the athletics and everything is right just where we are here over off of Hardy Road, off of Baseline Road, and then Hardy takes us right to this apartment complex. You're right. Traffic's been great every day coming into the city. Back and forth, and even last night out in Scottsdale, even though it was packed out there at Scottsdale to see Cardi B and Offset last night, it was heavy traffic there. But once you got out, you got all the malls and everything. You could get around. The transportation is easy to get around here, much easier than LA. Coming from LA, this seems like this seems like a godsend here with easy to drive. Radio Row, the media party, I like the farm as well. The food was great, and the pizza was good. You should have tried that goat cheese pizza with the sausage on it, but they kept putting cilantro. The only problem I don't like out here is cilantro's on everything. Come on, cilantro doesn't deserve to be on everything. It should be on a few things, but not everything, and that's what they seem to be doing out here because, man, it's unbelievable. Every time you look up, you're going to see something green on your plate, and it's not a vegetable. It's just a little funny-looking twig things sitting up on your plate there, wondering, okay, what's going on? What's this going to do? But it's been good. Radio Row was great, especially Thursday, Friday. Just tremendous people coming through. Everybody seemed to come Thursday, Friday. And we had such a continuous flow yesterday. AD, you were over at our table area and saw some of the guests that came through. Terry Hines, really was impressed with her. Sam Acho, excellent, man. I was impressed with him on TV. So seeing him in person was like, wow, this guy, he's the same guy. Man, very talkative, very intelligent. So it's been a very good week of guests and people talking football. The different Rihanna, the halftime show that went well. So it's been really good. And everything and having everything in one place. I think they need to try to stick to that concept of using a place that's large enough to have the have everything, including the NFL honors.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that, Radman. I'm telling you, it was definitely handy. Hey, while I'm thinking about it, guys, I want to throw in one thing that I was told yesterday when I picked up my game day credential. I knew that there had been some cutbacks as far as media who were given game day credentials, and we gotta thank God and our lucky stars. I found out yesterday the auxiliary press where we sit, AD, in the in the corner of the upper part of the end zone.
Nosebleed section.
Back. They said here was the storyline. They cut it back because they wanted more fans to be able to attend the game, which the real story behind that is they cut it back because they didn't want to give us those $5,000 seats. They wanted to make $5,000 for the other seats, but they cut down auxiliary press from 600 to 400 seats this year. They cut out many, I heard, of the radio stations. They're blocking most of the radio guys out, and the what's known as media workroom, which has had they cut that down to 600 this year. So I know you guys probably know D. Orlando Ledbetter. I'm in PFWA with him, as you know, Redman, and he and I were talking at the Pro Bowl on last Sunday in Vegas and eating lunch together before kickoff of all that. And I said, D, I'm at the point, I'm really getting scared that we may be coming to an end of media being able to get game day credentials, because it seems like the league now is pushing the social media network for each of the teams. And he told me that he honestly felt like we maybe had another 3 to 5 years and it might all well come crashing down. So we better enjoy it while we got it left is my only thought there.
Yeah, I see the Mighty Oba has jumped on. Good morning, Mighty Oba. How's it going, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right. Yo, quick, we started doing a quick run around on everybody's they week. I know you guys, Elvin, all of y'all been here the whole week. I got in Thursday, so we just started. I'm just doing a quick run around to give folks the flavor, your particular flavor from your purview on as to how you've looked at this week in Phoenix and everything.
Well, mostly the same. I think we're seeing the last days of regular media. The accommodations of media coverage is shifting. They have really cut down auxiliary press, and I just don't think it's going to be the same in the next 3 to 5 years. Radio did not get very many credentials to cover the game at all. No. I know a lot of guys that said that, basically they were leaving yesterday. And the explanation that they're giving these radio guys is, well, you can't transmit from the game anyway. So they're not even giving them credentials. And I think he's absolutely right that we are seeing a definite shift in coverage of the NFL. And they're making these internal entities bigger anyway for each team. And things are shifting. I definitely believe that.
Well, I will throw
pandemic
Pro Bowl
since the pandemic.
About the Pro Bowl.
Go ahead.
The NFL notified every team there would only be one photographer from each team allowed on the field for the flag football games. And then they were told that photographer had to be the social media network team photographer. And just to show you how, I don't want to use the word ridiculous, but funny that is, a couple of them were standing down on the media day on Friday at Allegiant Stadium. And the team photographer for one of the teams looked at the other guy from another team, and she said, "Oh, who is that guy over there? I've seen him before." He identified the guy and said, "He's a center for whatever team he played for." And she looked at him. She said, Oh, that's the guy that's bent over in front of the quarterback, isn't it? That's what we're facing right now. Young kids that know nothing about football that are being hired by the teams to run their social networks.
Hey, I wanted to share something with you that happened with Radman and myself in Cincinnati, and he's absolutely right. Social media was blowing up at the unfortunate injury of Damar Hamlin. Our phones started blowing up everything.
Right.
And you had these podcast guys putting out there, why did it take so long for the NFL to cancel the game and everything? They don't realize that the NFL had canceled that game almost instantaneously when they knew of the severity of the injury to Damar Hamlin.
Right.
But because of game day, you just can't say the game is canceled instantaneously when you got 70,000 people in a stadium.
Yep.
And you can have remember that injury occurred like 5 minutes into the game.
Mm-hmm.
So police officers weren't on post. You can't say the game is canceled until they put the traffic apparatus back in place.
Yep.
And it got all the ushers back in place to help people get out. So that's why it took they knew the game was canceled. It wasn't no big deal. But the podcast guys were on social media criticizing the NFL, not understanding how games are set up. It's more than just the play on the field. And he's absolutely right with that. And that's the problem that you're seeing today. And that's what happened in Cincinnati. And George and I started even talking about it when things started. We knew that the game was canceled because if you look on the sidelines of the tape, you see them guys are packing up.
Yep.
Right before they even announced the game. You knew the game was canceled and they started packing their stuff up.
All right, could you hold that point? Because here's something that's very sort of unique. Joe Buck Joe Buck came on the air and said, per his source, the game was getting ready to start within five minutes, warming up. That was a disconnect somewhere, guys. I mean, y'all were watching. Y'all were watching the teams pack up and everything. Even at home, when I'm looking at, I knew the severity of it, but Joe Buck is clearly sitting there saying they're gonna be warming up, and I'm sitting there saying to myself, under no circumstances. So how did anybody ever get to the bottom of that situation as to how he's standing there on national media and saying these guys are getting ready? Because to me, it put the NFL in a bad light.
It did.
Absolutely.
It put Joe Buck in a bad light. And I've never heard any explanation of who told him that or how it came to be put out nationally.
Yeah, if you look on the sidelines, and George can tell you that after the coaches came together,
right,
they started packing up. It wasn't the fact they were going in the locker room to reevaluate or anything else. You started seeing them packing up. Then you started seeing ESPN packing up too.
Yeah.
So I don't know what. Yeah. There was definitely a disconnect there.
Hey,
I think also there's a lot of information.
Go ahead,
George. A lot of information flowing all over the place. People were saying all kinds of things, and people were putting it out on Twitter that he had died too. People had put that information out. Some radio show host said it. Even the next morning, a radio show said he had died. He was deceased and everything. And then later in the day, people they got him. They apologized. The station came on and had to apologize. And this guy just stuck to his guns and said, "No. They're going to announce it later today. They're going to announce it." It was just all kinds of madness going on because I believe they never had something like this happen like this in a game, especially a major game that's televised everywhere. Because they had on the scoreboard, boom, like you said, 20 minutes or 10 minutes, the game will be on delay, stated on delay, just to keep people in the stadium and keep people there before they could eventually get the people to get them to move them out of the stadium. And you can see the people leaving. They knew they wanted to go home too. They didn't want to stay.
Because that Joe Buck announcement sort of put Troy Vincent, because the thing about it, it's almost like it made Troy Vincent look like he was lying. I mean, really, it put Troy Vincent in a bad spot, man.
You said Troy Vincent or Troy Aikman?
Troy Vincent, not Troy Aikman. Yeah, because see, Troy Vincent was supposed to be on. You know, we had been talking to them. Remember when they showed the coaches talking to the referee on the field, and there was, and apparently in the NFL had their spokesperson right there on the field with everybody else discussing it right then. You know, and then that's when Joe Buck came back and said that, you know, they're supposed to be warming up in 5 minutes, and I'm going like, okay, somebody's mischaracterizing something.
Yeah.
But you know, not to beat that dead horse around, guy. I was sort of thinking about when we was putting this panel together, and we're still missing one person, but that we'll push on the fact that collectively the amount of experience that we got that's assembled here right now that has covered all these Super Bowls. I think, you know, Radman, you and Mighty Oba, what 23rd? Am I correct? Elwin,
you 15.
16?
15.
15. Elwin, you done had what?
This is my 19th one.
Yeah, and my first one was like back in '95, man. So I'm going like, collectively put all our experiences together, man. I guess we could write a nice book or somewhere, but you know, I don't know if it'd be worth anything. Of course, Mighty Oba already has one. He's got his first journal out of all his interviews he's done, and a well-written book as well. But moving forward, guys, let's get to this week. I noticed, I mean, and all of us, we've covered these things, how they have readjusted when we first started, how they have readjusted where the commissioners talk and everything. Things have been moved around. It's almost like this thing is so totally scripted right now. I mean, the spontaneity of breaking things in the Super Bowl, I mean, it's almost like that's going to be passé. I mean, how do you guys feel about that?
I agree totally, AD. And you know, the thing that continues to frustrate me the most, everybody remembers the commissioner's address was always on Friday. There would be 1,000 people or more in that building, in that conference room. And this year it was moved to before the majority of people come in like you, AD, on Thursday. And I think he wants it to be a smaller group of people. The same story with the pregame and halftime press conferences. I had a prior engagement that I had to go to before the pregame and halftime press conferences. I got up there at 25 minutes before it started. They had all the doors shut, and we were told, well, all of you guys are going to get in, but we're going to have to get everybody seated first. Just be patient with us. We waited until 15 minutes after, and there was probably 70 or 75 of us standing out there. And then they came out and informed us there was not another seat. The fire department was not going to allow anybody standing in the room because of fire safety, and that we needed to disperse immediately. We were not even allowed in for the press conference. And there were 4 other press conference rooms connected to the A and B rooms that they utilized that they could have easily added in. But it's like they're doing their best to shrink it every year and have fewer people cover most of this. And when Rihanna came out, they didn't even allow any media person to ask any question. They had the Yahoo person was the moderator and asked her every question that was asked. It's like we're being restricted more and more and more every year. And that's just disappointing. I mean, you know, to the new people coming in, oh my gosh, I'm covering Super Bowl. They don't realize it. It's all they know. But to those of us that have covered a number of them, you can feel that noose around your neck getting tighter and tighter. And it's really disappointing.
George,
you're so on point. Absolutely, that's just what it was. Because all they had to do was open the sliding door, and the overflow could have sat over in the next room where they had the Hall of Fame room they were using for that evening, coming up in the evening. Yep. But that, I mean, was no need, no way that. Why would you have all these people there and not open it up and allow everybody into that big ball? That's their big ballroom. Easily just slide it. I thought they were going to do that. Slide it, boom, and allow everybody in. But now you hitting it on the nail on the head. They're just trying to reduce it and want you to see it online or something through social media or something. They don't want you to be live anymore.
I think you're right.
Well, I mean, have we been around? Have we been around to the guy we starting to sound like old fuddy duddies? We
Yep.
just seen them, or have we seen so much and we've been able to adapt? I think we've shown that we can adapt to this new social media skill and everything. But has it come to the point that if you don't know what you don't know, and those that is coming in here now, if they sitting there looking at what they're thinking, like I say, they thinking this is the creme de la creme. No, it's not.
No, it
not
isn't.
Not when you got, this is Super Bowl 57, and in fact, the first two wasn't even called Super Bowls. They were just called the NFL game. So it wasn't until the third game that it was called Super Bowl. So anyway, that's that. So I guess we sort of kill that dog in a little bit. Guys,
AD.
What's up, Almighty Oba?
Like he said, this is my 23rd Super Bowl.
Okay.
And it has just gotten. The first time I got here, I was in amazement. They gave you a Super Bowl bag, pen, pad, mementos. Now they just give you a credential, check it, and you're gone.
Yep.
It's just gotten less and less.
Yep. And I'm sure you guys noticed this, but in the past, on the back of our credentials, we've always had a list of what the letters and numbers mean as far as your access. That was not on the week of game credential, and it's not on the game day credential. We really don't have a clue what we're going to be able to do when we get there tomorrow.
Right. Another thing too with the Rihanna press conference, the halftime and the pregame, they basically build a little studio, cut the room down, had the risers in the back. There was only so many people they wanted in there.
Exactly.
And then all of the microphone is only handed to select people. Kevin Frazier got a question, and 2 kids got questions. They even are doing that on opening night. Yep. Opening night, Michael Irvin came over there. 3 kids got questions. Media standing there trying to get their questions in. It's just become a totally scripted affair.
Yeah. And hey, while you're talking about Michael Irvin, I'm sure y'all heard yesterday, and I tend to believe Michael's side of this thing, that it was a 45-second engagement with the lady that accused him of improper conduct. Michael filed a $100 million lawsuit yesterday against the hotel and against his accuser. And I hope he barbecues them, because I know Michael well enough to know he's made it through the ranks. He's not going to be that stupid at his age to do what that woman accused him of doing.
Well, I tell you what.
What did she accuse him of doing? What exactly did she accuse him of doing? I still don't understand. There's no charges or nothing.
Improper conduct was all she said. And just NFL Network pulls him off with one person's accusation without even doing any interview. I just, there again, it's more of the shrinkage, and it just makes no sense.
Well, guys, hey, as we get ready, getting down to the end, scores and predictions for tomorrow. And obviously we know we got 2 kids from Texas that'll be quarterbacking, one out of right outside of Houston, Channelview, and the other, Pat Mahomes and so forth. So, who starting with you, Mighty Oba, scores? What do you expect tomorrow?
Texas 3, rest of the country nothing.
Texas 3.
Texas again is the capital of football of the world. No, I'm picking Kansas City. I think Mahomes has a point to prove from that last Super Bowl. He's got a lot of his weapons back if they can play. That's going to be the question, because a lot of them were hurt. And I think he's going to really have a good game. I like Pacheco. I think they're going to run the football and really go at Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia has a great defense, but I think Pat Mahomes, I'm pulling for Pat Mahomes. My prediction is 27, maybe 24.
Radman.
All right, it should be a good one. Eagles offensive line and defensive line should have a good days. They should be able to run the ball. But the other side to it is Jalen Hurts' shoulder. They haven't talked too much about his shoulder. I think he still maybe have a slight separation or something with that shoulder because his passing was terrible in the last game against the 49ers. If the 49ers would have had a decent quarterback in there instead of down to their fifth string or fourth or fifth string quarterback, I think they could have made it a close game against the Eagles because they were doing some things on offense to move the ball. They just couldn't. They just didn't have a passing game. Kansas City does have a passing game. 2 weeks for Andy Reid to prepare. I think this is a legacy game for Andy Reid and also for Patrick Mahomes, MVP of the league, wants to get that second Super Bowl. Andy Reid, for him to win his second Super Bowl and the second one against his former team that he never could get over the hump with. Oh my God! I think he's been staying up all night for a lot of nights. He won't say that publicly, but I think he's been grinding it all night long, putting together a game plan. I see it 31-28. I see them. That means they'll cover the over 51 and the plus 1.5 points. And man, and we hope the gamblers don't take over because man, every time you look, gamblers on the screen. That's another topic I wanted to hit real quick, but we'll go on. I give you my score. Let's move on to the next selection.
Okay, Elwin.
Okay, well, 2 weeks ago when Patrick first got that, or the second week in a row when he got that ankle hurt, going into that game, after that game, I'm like, man, they're going to make it a close game, but I just don't see any way with Patrick hurt that the Chiefs can pull it out. But after seeing what he did, when most guys wouldn't have even been suited up, much less playing the whole game, and yeah, we saw that gimpy ankle, him jumping up and down, not being able to put any weight on it, but he still willed his team to victory. He seemed to be moving around well in all of the practice video I've seen during the week. Obviously, they've got the hyperbaric chamber. There's no telling how many hours a day he spent in that. And I was going to go, just like the Mighty Oboe, 27-24, but since he used that score, I'm going to go 24-21 Chiefs.
Well, see, we got three Chiefs, and I'm gonna be the contrarian in the bunch.
We knew that.
I'm going with the local kid, Jalen Hurts, the coach's son. And here's one of the things, and the different places I've been on, the different mediums I've been on since I've been out here. I think this is one time that both of these kids, because of the uniqueness of having both of their fathers around and where they come from, not getting the proper respect and the proper due in the media. I think if either one of these kids' dad had been coming out of prison, they'd already had his probation officer report and everything else all out there. But for the sheer fact that Jalen Hurts, coach's kid, Pat Mahomes, his dad played professional baseball, and so you see the impetus and the input that has been built into both of these kids. And the fact that sort of how the media has sort of pushed over that, but it was good, particularly because of the fact that mom's around. But hey, this is one time that fathers that look like the majority of us on this program who raised our kids, who've been there, the platform when folks say that our family structure is going to hell in a handbasket. No, I haven't. Here's two prime examples right there. There are two prime examples right there, and I think that this is, I'm pointing the finger at us as the media, because again, if this in any one of these kids' dad had been in the pen or coming out the pen the first time seeing him, that would have been all over. But now, because of the fact that these kids' dads are there, I'm going with the Eagles 28-25 over the Chiefs.
Well stated. Tomorrow, AD. The three of us are never going to let you live it down.
Oh, well, that's okay. That's all right. And like I said, you know what? Hey, I've been right before. I've been wrong before. But at the end of the day, all I want to do is to make sure that the referee is not the one going to decide this ball game tomorrow. Yeah. That's at the end of the day. I want to make sure that there's no flag all of a sudden sitting there. We going like, oh, wait a minute. Are you sure that was a rough in the passer or whatever the case might be? Because, this playoffs, we've seen some funny calls, guys. I mean, I don't know how y'all looked at it, but I sort of been looking at it with a jaundiced eye on a couple of calls that have been made in these playoffs, man.
And did you guys see that in his press conference Wednesday, Goodell said that he felt like the officiating was better than it ever been? And I'm thinking, what games have you been watching? Because you sure hadn't been watching NFL games.
Well, I mean, come on.
That's why he has a small. That's why he has a small audience, because somebody would have shouted out, "What?"
Yeah.
Somebody would have said. Somebody would have said something.
Yeah, well, that's why. I mean, it seemed like, as far as his audience is concerned, him and Jim Trotter continue their combative relationship from last year to this year, because Trotter was back on him and Roger did a nice Gregory Hines move on him and dodging the question. And then basically, I thought, in my personal opinion, having gone back and looked at that, I thought he basically tried to call out Jim Trotter and said that basically he wasn't factually in his comments from last year, which I thought was a little bit beneath Roger. But that's my perception, and that's how I looked at it. Guys, Elwin, Mighty Ober, Radman, hey man, I appreciate you guys jumping on. As far as post game tomorrow, who's available, we'll see who might be available. Ain't no telling what time we'll get through. Yeah, we're gonna try to pull it together and Lisa, and then probably have some more comments, need some quick comments from winning and losing players. I'll basically have it, and we'll get down to press row and everything else tomorrow. Hey, all of them, hey guys, hoping for a good game tomorrow. Appreciate each and every one of y'all, just not only for today, but hey, your friendship and your collegiality from all the many years, man. I just appreciate it, especially when I'm sort of like the youngster of the group.
Well, hey, we appreciate you having us on, AD, and it's been fun being on with you after each of the Texans games this season as well, and appreciate your friendship. We've had a lot of fun times in that press box at NRG Stadium.
Yeah, and George and the Mighty Open. Hey man, like I said, when y'all finally get the new stadium up there, obviously I'm gonna have to get up there and, before my, hopefully, when is it supposed to be finished, guys? The new stadium.
2026.
Okay. Well, I guess y'all
haven't even started yet.
They hadn't even started.
Wow.
No, so we don't know. That's a pipe dream. I'm calling it a pipe dream. Yeah. And I'll even bet on that. But unfortunately, I think my prediction down the road, the NFL is on a very slippery slope, jumping in bed with these gambling places. I think something's going to happen big. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to get, maybe, I hope nobody doesn't lose their life behind it, but something's going to go down with this gambling, because you can't just have, look, you can look outside the convention center, all these gambling trucks out there. People, yep. I mean, and then next door, right inside the Phoenix Footprint Arena where the Phoenix Suns play, you got a gambling play. You can go in there and bet and then go to your seat with beers in your hand. I mean, it's a very slippery slope, I think, about to happen. And I think for them to suspend Calvin Ridley for the whole season like that, down the road, you're going to come back to see that was a total injustice for what's going to go down. Because you just can't put yourself in bed with gambling.
Thomas Hollywood Henderson had a post. I'm friends with him on Facebook this morning. And he said, folks, if you don't think this is bad, and I'm paraphrasing him, this is not good with the NFL getting in, with the gambling. It's trash. And, there have already been some accusations of games that look like the officials made weird calls to change the outcome. And there's already been those accusations out there. Well, how many people in the NFL are actually putting money on these games? And it's only going to get worse of accusations of games being thrown by the officials based on the betting line. That's never going to end well.
Well, hey, you know what? We continue. Gentlemen, thank you. As I get ready to sign off, this is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, Elwin, the Mighty Ober, Radman. Guys, appreciate it. We'll see what the outcome. We got 3 Chiefs and we got 1 Eagle. Sound like a Western going. That sounds like a Western.
one last thing for you, AD.
What's up?
An alpha picked the Q to win. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, but you're right. Hey, but remember one thing. We had to start at the line, player. Hey guys, we out. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, those of y'all that appreciate it, thank y'all for listening, coming on. We'll be on sometime tomorrow. Just look for a post. Appreciate it, guys. And guess what? We out of here. I've got to go run over there and pick up my game day credentials. Now I'm gonna walk over there and go pick it up. And so I'll be talking to y'all later on, guys.
All right.
All righty.
Later.
Take care. Later.
Later.